Howdy, it's Doc Moses, and here we are about to do our costuming and leather video. Very important video. And actually, this is the second time for me to do it because I forgot to hit record a minute ago. So we will get through this. So first off, on costuming, I want to say from the beginning, costume is a big part of the game. It's not the most important part, but it is an important part. So when I first looked at the CAS 10 or 12 years before I started shooting it, the costume kind of scared me off. It's like, I don't want to mess with that. That I don't, that's not me. And when I started doing it, I did pick one of the uh, heavily costumed categories, but that was because I thought it was the best category for my skill level. But all of us who shoot this, the costuming is part of what we do. We like what we do. We don't want to run out there in our utility pants and a shirt with Glock or SIG written across the back and a baseball cap and shoot our cowboy guns. This is part of what we do. And so I encourage you to take it seriously because we have a broad spectrum. We can go fully TV cowboy with chaps and fancy holsters and hats and the fancy shirts, and all the way down to just wearing a very basic shirt and jeans and a basic pair of boots. So there's lots of options for you, but it becomes part of the deal. So enjoy it, and if you don't want to go large with the costuming, that's fine. No one wants you to. No one requires you to. But it is part of the deal, so don't just try to blow it off and I'm just going to do the least I can. It's a local match. They won't say anything. Do it right. There's an old expression where I grew up saying if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. So just because you can get away with it, not doing much, don't do that. Don't do that. Do the costume. Again, most of the categories don't require very much, so just do that. You don't have to require a whole lot. And then if you want to do more, you can. So first off, let's start off. We'll work our way down. We'll start with hats. Hats is one of the areas where I kind of made a mistake early on. I watched a lot of videos and I was being real economical because I'm the economical cowboy. Some people would say cheap. Yes, my wife would be one of those people. Both my kids. But I decided to splurge a little bit on the hat because I'm a bald guy. No hair here. So you haven't lived till you've had a hair sunburn on top of your head because you don't have any hair. It stinks. So my first hat was this hat. I watched the videos. My favorite modern cowboy movie is Open Range, and I watched the videos with these guys. I thought I want a Gus hat, and this is the best I could find. Now there's bigger Gus hats, a little taller back, but this one is crushable. You can crush it like that, and then it pops back into shape. And I like that. Like I said, I'm a hat guy. I've worn these kinds of hats for a long time, not cowboy style, but like fedoras and whatnot before moving to Texas. But this one cost me a little too much money because it is a Stetson. I bought it locally, so I knew it would fit instead of ordering. I have a giant head, so what I want to encourage you to do is buy locally, which I did do, but just buy the local hat. I was doing bee western, so I had to have a felt hat. Couldn't wear a straw hat or a palm leaf hat. But if I just bought the local felt cowboy hat, it's a nice hat. It's hard, it's not crushable. Would have been half the money. Because what happened is, as I shot the game more, that hat's hot. I have to wear felt though for that category, so I'm thinking of switching categories. I kind of want to get a straw hat that can breathe. The straw hats, you can get them with a lot of vents at the top. This is a palm leaf hat. Palm leaf hats look a lot like the straw. They're not quite as rigid, but they take water a lot better. So you can kind of get them wet and reshape them. They're made for that. They just soak up the water and then you reshape them. You're good to go. You don't have to take them somewhere. And I would have had a lot less money out the door. And just a regular style cowboy hat. I grew up in a big city and really wasn't into the whole cowboy thing other than, like the movies and stuff. But I've always liked the guns. So I just felt like a fraud, when wearing a real cowboy hat. But once I did the game, a few matches, like, okay, I can do this. And there's a reason they wear that style hat. It actually works for what we do better. So go with the local hat company. If you're going to get the felt, get the felt. If you're going to get the straw, this is from the local company, the same place I bought that one. But a third the money. If it wears out, get another one. It's a third of the money. And then after you've worn this hat for a while, or the felt version of this hat, you'll know what you want. And then when you go spend that $100 or even 200, or believe it or not, you can spend $1,000 on a cowboy hat. It's crazy. It's like all beaver fur and stuff, but you will get what you want, and you know you're going to like it rather than I think this is what I want. You know what I mean? So that's the hat. I would go straw, but unless you're in the category that requires felt, and just go local store. Local store is good. Then working our way down, we got the shirts. Now, this is a Henley where it has a button down to about here and then buttons up. This is a fancy Henley. It's got a little pattern on it. But just a Henley, a plain cloth, cotton Henley, one color, is what most of the people wear. Kind of looks like underwear. You know, the union suits you used to wear when you were a kid back in the day when people wore long underwear. Looks like the top of the long underwear. That's what they wear because that's what you see in a lot of Western pictures. That's what a lot of people are wearing. Does have to be long sleeved. So that's what most people wear. Now, I started out in one of the two costume categories. There's Classic Cowboy and there's B Western. For B Western, you're supposed to look really gaudy, really loud, really overly fancy, bling, lots of bling. So I don't have the money for that. And I picked that category because you have to have an 1892 or newer rifle. Because most of those old Westerns were using 1892s, even if they were set before 1892 because they didn't have the budget. So I looked and I looked at the stores, and I ended up with this plaid shirt you see behind me. And I love that shirt. It's a great shirt. It's a cowboy shirt. It's got the snap buttons and pockets and all that, so it meets the requirements. And I wore that for probably a year and a half. It's a great shirt. I still like it. Still wear it sometimes today. And it's fairly lightweight, so it's cool. Now later on, I was teaching a class of students. I work at a private school, and we get to do stuff like that. We did a week of cowboy action shooting and the Second Amendment. And we went to cowboy action ranges and real ranges and all that. And so for that, I had a little extra money, so I bought the black shirt there next to it. Cost quite a bit more, but it's got the fancy stitching and all that with the buttons and all. But again, that wasn't at first. At first, you're being economical, and then you figure out what you want. You pick it up. Now, one of the things you're going to watch is the wire classifieds, because that shirt on the black one, ones like it pop up on the wire regularly. But instead of full price, they're at half price, a quarter price, because someone's had them for a few years. They did like me. They've worn them a little bit, but they put them in the closet, and then they go back to their Henley because it's cooler in the summer. And they don't got a lot of wear on them. And somebody gains weight, loses weight. They just decide to thin the herd a little bit. As we get a little older, we want to get rid of stuff. You find them for $20, $25, $35. So watch the wire. That's part of being economical and then buying that stuff. So Henleys, button-down cowboy style shirts, or fancy button-down cowboy style shirts. Working our way down now, the pants. Jeans. I've worn jeans to every match I've ever been to. A lot of the guys do at some point buy some period appropriate pants. Maybe the same company that makes that black one over there. Scully, I think it is. I don't see me doing that. I like jeans. I don't get to wear jeans at work. So I wear them on the weekends, wear them in the summers, and I'm going to wear them for cowboy action shooting. I like them. So keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple. Silly. You thought I was going to say something mean, didn't you? Married an elementary school teacher. We don't say that S word in this house. So keep it simple, silly. Going to wear jeans. You can wear those others, but again, that's something you do down the road. You're getting into this sport. You're getting all these guns and things, so don't buy another pair of pants. Just drag out a pair of jeans, wear your jeans. And that takes us to the bottom, your boots. And I'm kind of, even though I never was a cowboy, I always liked boots, so I had a good pair of boots. Ariats. They weren't very pretty, and the category I was in was supposed to be fancy boots, but technically it met the rule because it had that stitching on the toe, you know, that you see in a lot of boots. So I'd use that. And again, I just did local meets, and I'm not competitive, so nobody got mad. If I was doing a big meet and I was competitive, someone would probably be upset that my boots weren't fancier. So this year I did buy a nicer pair of boots for that very reason. Now, as you know from my other video, I sold my 92, so I can't shoot B Western anymore. But Spirit of the game. Stick with it. Now, what I'm encouraging you to do, though, instead of going to the boot store like Cavender's or Boot Barn or something, go to your local shoe store like Academy Sports. They got a big shoe selection, and they've got like 2 rows of boots. They have some nice boots that you'll find at the boot store, but they have a lot of work boots. Work boots have a good rubber sole. They're not lug soles that are illegal. But they're rubber, so you're not going to slip and fall. Nobody wants to get sued, and we don't want to see you hurt. And they're leathered uppers, but they're less than $100. They don't have the fancy stitching on the toe, so you can't wear them for Be Western, but you can wear them for every other category. If you don't have boots, buy those. Then as you're in the game for a year or so, you'll know what you want. Some people like the big knee-high leather boots. Some just want to get a pair of fancy boots that are just comfortable, so they'll get that. But then you'll still have those work boots that you can use for work in your yard. You can also use them as backups if there's a muddy day or a rainy day and you don't want to get your fancy boots messed up. You won't lose that money, and you didn't spend that much anyway. So go to the local store, buy those. That's my encouragement for the boots. Lastly, you do want to make sure there's a little ledge on them. Let me show you what I'm talking about. On these boots, you can see there's a little bit of a ledge here with this. That's a spur ledge. So if you do a category like Be Western I was doing, you had to have spurs. There's a ledge for them to sit on. And when I had the spurs, someone gave me the spurs, but I didn't have straps, so I just got an extra piece of leather, cut it, poked holes in it to make a strap to go across the front. Now I have real straps, because I'm economical. When something came up on the wire, I bought them because, you want to meet those requirements and be flashy. But the requirements aren't there to make you go broke either. So be economical. When you get a chance to improve it. And that takes us to leather. So we'll start with my shotgun belt. The shotgun belt I bought. Got online, looked for a shotgun belt. Was glad I bought it because you never know if I'd made it. How big a loop do I need for this? Putting a 12 gauge in there. It was already made. Nice. I have some cartridge slips over here. Looks like they're for 38, but I've put 44s in there. I think they're 444s. Yeah, they were 44s because I ordered this and I knew that's what I was shooting. But I put 38s in there because my rifle I shoot now is a 38, and they stay fine. They wouldn't if I was running and jumping everywhere, but they stay good for the competition. One thing I am going to suggest, one of our world champions at our club was trying to help me out with a shotgun because I was really having a bad day, and my good days aren't even that good. So he was looking at my gear and helping me in a line after the match and said, well, you need a little ledge there to hold the shotgun shell because this didn't have it. So the shotgun shell goes in. Now, see that little leather strip? It's sitting on that strip so it doesn't go any further. So now when I'm going to get the shell, I can get my thumb behind it, put my finger here on top of a couple of shells, then pull them right out into my shotgun. So if you don't have that leather strip like mine did, what you have to do is remember to kind of push them up when you get to the line so they don't go, pushed all the way down because it's too slow to get out. What happens is a lot of us are a little overweight. I am. I've been losing, hallelujah, but so if you forget to do that, your gut pushes them back in, and then you get there and you get your first 2 out and your second 2 you fumble for. So just do like I did. Sew a strip of leather across the bottom, and you don't have to pay a bunch of money for it. So nice little Oklahoma leather belt. I didn't know it was Oklahoma leather when I bought it. I was just buying something that was inexpensive that I could afford, and I liked how it looked. I've decided I really like the looks of the canvas belts the best, and found a place, but I was going to get one, but they didn't respond to my emails, so I guess I fixed that one instead. Now I love it. I did try the elastic belts. Didn't like it, but it was one I made myself. I took the leather off that one, sewed elastic on, so it's the store-bought one. It probably would work fine, and then they stretch a little easier to get your thumb behind it, but I'm loving that belt now that I fixed it. So now to the gun holster. We'll start here. This is the least expensive. This is the economical way to go. I got on Etsy because I needed a holster for one of my 22s. I think this was $30. This is really thick leather. This is a good holster. Doesn't have a metal band in here to hold it open like that. You get those in those really nice Mernicals and Old El Paso and Kilpatrick holsters. So this is just a leather holster. But it's really good. So what I did was I then ordered a second one to go with it. When I taught that class with the students, I had my leather rig and that they could use. But then if somebody was shooting with that, the guy getting at the loading table could take these with the regular belt through them, and they work great. And he's ready to go. And so we're not waiting and switching all the gear because for the class, gear costs a lot of money. I didn't have a bunch. And so if I have a friend who goes to a match with me, he uses these with one of his belts. One of the kids was a bit overweight, and my belt wouldn't fit around him. He was too big. Well, I had him bring one of his personal belts, and he just put it on with these, and he was good to go. I had a little slider for shotgun shells, and he was happy as could be and shot well. Did a good job. He was one of the kids who'd never shot before. So Etsy, look at these. And this one has this little chrysanthemum symbol on it. I don't remember what the name of that company is, but you'll see it all over Etsy. And there are other holsters too if you want to try those instead. But good buy. Glad I have them for backups. Now, my holster that I was using at first was a loaner from my club. Somebody had left it there for people like me when they didn't have anything. And so I was using it, and I took it home, and I bought a $49 pack of leather from Hobby Lobby that was long, stretched it out, took that holster, laid it down on that leather, and drew, well, actually I laid it on paper first, drew a outline of it, then took the paper, laid that on the leather, and drew and then carved that leather and cut out two identical pieces. And that's what I made this holster out of. And I adapted it some. I thought the holsters on the loaner were back about here, and I thought they needed to be closer to the front for my body. So I moved each of these up an inch. So this is also just leather. Doesn't have the little metal curved thing, piece of wire. Although I thought of adding one. In fact, I got the wire and everything to do it, and then decided not to. So I could do that. I could put a strip of leather right across here and decorate it, and in between it, the existing leather, put that wire to hold it open. But this is a really economical way to go, because what happens is, I mean, it looks, I like how it looks. I like how it wears. I'll probably keep it a while. I might, like I said, work on these holsters a little bit, but or not. But what happens is you go and you buy a you get on the wire and you find a used, or you get online, you find a $250 holster. It's like, man, that's so much money. I mean, it's more than a Ruger Wrangler, one of my 22s. But you buy it, and you like it, and you use it for a couple of years, but you really want to get that Mernical, that great holster. But you've got $250 invested in this one. So you save up $400 or $500, you're ready to go buy it. You buy it. It kills your soul a little bit because it's so much money on a sport. And then you sell your holster and you get $120 for it if you're lucky. Why not just go and that $50 leathers I bought, I also made 3 butt covers for it and some other little odds and ends, the little badge holders and all that. So I've got about $20 in that holster. Been using it for 3 years. When I go to buy that Mernical, if I decide I'm competitive enough to need it, I won't have wasted $250. So keep it simple, silly. The economical thing is, watch the wire. If you don't find one on the wire, just go buy some leather and make you one. Then watch the wire. You'll find that intermediate holster for $100 instead of $250. It'll be used. And if you like the one you made, just don't even do that. Just wait till you've got $400 or $500, and then maybe you'll see one of those Mernicals come up used for $400 that sells new for $600, and you can jump on it because you've got the cash. And I just say Mernical because they're the biggest advertiser out there. There are plenty of great holster makers. Old El Paso, Kilpatrick. I think Kilpatrick's the one that I have that someone gave me. Better rig than I've got there. It's just black, and I kind of like the brown. So that's the thing about the leather, is keep it simple, silly. So my suggestions is on each of these videos we do the cheapest route. So the cheapest route is to go to your local store and buy a straw hat or a palm hat. If you're in a category that requires felt, or if you just like felt, or if you're in a colder part of the country, I'm in Texas, East Texas, where it gets hot. Even our winters aren't really that cold. Um, so a felt hat, you can be warm year round and buy the felt. It's still going to be 40 to 60 bucks for the felt. It's going to be 30 to $40 for a straw or a palm. Live with that until you know what you like. If you already have a hat, wear that. If you're a hat person, shirt, get a Henley. You get them at Walmart. If it's out of season, like it's summer and you're not going to find a long sleeve Henley, just get online and order one. They'll have it. Walmart will have it online if they don't have it in store. Jeans, wear jeans. Wear the boots you've got. If you don't have any boots, go to the local sporting goods store and buy some work boots, leather work boots. Make sure it's not a lug sole, and live with those until you know what you want. Then you don't have a ton of money invested in this before you even start. Let's see. Then leather, like we just finished talking about. I would suggest ordering the shotgun belt because shotguns are slowest gun. So let's not fight your equipment. Get a decent design that either has that leather strip or add the leather strip to the bottom or some kind of rest for it to sit on. And it's worth paying extra. That canvas one I was looking at was $10 extra for the stop, and they were saying you don't have to do this if you don't want to. No, you need to do it. That friend of mine was right. So that's the way to do your costuming and your leather on the cheap. And then as you get more experience, opportunities come up on the wire, you can make those happen. And you'll have the money and you'll have done it economically. And then you can pass on your old gear to somebody who needs it. Have a great day and watch for those videos. We've got one on the intro, one on pistols, revolvers, one on rifles, shotguns, and this one on costuming and leather. Have a great night.